afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ACSOM Bulletin on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm joined, as per usual, by Lawrence Connolly and Patrick McGilp. Gentlemen, how are we?
Yep, doing well, mate. Spent Saturday down at Greenock Celtic supporters with John Yogi Hughes. Got a win on Sunday, and then Stephen O'Donnell, the Celtic offer, popped round to see us earlier in the week. So it's all good, mate.
Excellent. Busy man. Patrick, yourself, how are we?
Not bad, not bad. Very interesting result with Betis on the Thursday. Missed the game on the Sunday, but it's another 3 points, and you know it looked like a bit of a scrappy game, a bit of a slightly dull game without a striker. But looking forward to Wednesday night in the final. Wednesday, which isn't on television.
No, it isn't on television, which is why I'm delighted that I'm going. Even though it'll be absolutely Baltic probably, but so far the weather forecast is actually not too bad, so fingers crossed it's not too cold. But Lawrence, we'll kick off last Thursday. Obviously we've not been on since the victory up at Tannadice. We spoke about that in depth. We spoke about the goals, the way we played, but changed team on Thursday night. We saw a lot of players giving their competitive debuts for Celtic. What was your take on the match on Thursday night?
Shows you, listen, the third in La Liga, a great result. It's come at a cost with the injuries, but it's also showed, you know, we've got a few people that I think performed a wee bit better than we expected them to perform. So, yeah, makeshift team beats third in La Liga. It's great. You know, probably unexpectedly so, I would say. But I think the big thing that came out of it is probably the injuries. It's going to hurt us. Let's be honest, it was kind of dead rubber, wasn't it, the game? You know, it's always good to win any game, but would I rather have not won and avoided injuries? Yeah. Because although we won at the weekend, and we could really do with some fit strikers, couldn't we? Well, at least one. You know, one's not too much to ask for.
Well, we're going to talk about that because there was a wee analysis that I saw online that looked at the shape. On Sunday, Patrick, obviously we'd played kind of two number 10s, and it looked as if we did really play with no striker. We let the overlap of the number 10s go in with the wingers. But we'll get on to that. First, I want to come to one of the tweets you put out on Thursday night, Patrick. One Ewan to another. A very cynical at times Scottish football journalist and journalist tweeted something out about Ewan Henderson, and you corrected him to say that Callum McGregor had not kicked a ball, or had very little kicked a ball for Celtic's first team by the age of 21. Ewan Henderson, talk about him and, you know, that comparison that you made on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, Ewan, is it Ewan Cameron? Have I got that right? The journalist.
Ewan Murray, I think.
Ewan Murray, sorry. Ewan Cameron's a radio man. Alleged journalist, Ewan Murray. You know, it's trying to say that he played his 10th game and he didn't know where the next 10 were going to come from. He fails to mention that he's played about 30 out on loan for, I think it's Queen's Park in Dunfermline. You know, Callum McGregor, I don't think, played 30 games out on loan for Notts County. So he's actually ahead of Callum McGregor in terms of development. And if you remember Callum McGregor, he had a shaky two and a bit years after his debut in I think it was Iceland in Reykjavik when he scored that goal. So, you know, just he's trying to take the shine off Celtic winning 3-2 in Europe against a top team. He's trying to take the shine off of Ewan Henderson scoring his first goal for Celtic. Trying to take the shine off Scottish football, really, isn't he? I mean, you could probably make excuses for other Scottish teams getting good results in Europe that night as well. It's just nonsense. And even if he doesn't have a future at Celtic, you've got guys like Turnbull in the team, Mikey Johnson in the team, you know, Dane Murray played earlier in the season. You've got all these, Stephen Welsh, you've got all these young Scottish players. Ralston's made a big turnaround. There's no need to try and find a negative when there isn't really one. We have a good academy. We let Scottish youngsters play. I don't know what he's trying to do there.
No, neither do I. Lawrence, on Ewan Henderson, obviously we saw him under Brendan Rodgers just before he departed to go to Leicester. He played very well in that game against Motherwell. Then Neil Lennon started him in his first game at Tynecastle and he played a lovely ball through. He's a player who I quite like. I think he's a decent enough footballer. We saw him against Lille last season. Again, same scoreline, 3-2. And again, he comes on and he takes his chance on Thursday night. What do you think his future is at Celtic? Obviously, the midfield area is somewhere that's pretty crowded at times in terms of personnel in there, but I think he can play in the wing. Could he be an option Ange Postecoglou continues to look at throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think so. Could they maybe a false nine with Henderson? Technically very good. I don't think I've ever seen him put in less than a 7 in any game he plays for. And he's one of the players I'm not worried about if I see him in the starting lineup, because I know he's going to be good enough. I know he's going to give a good account of himself. Some of the other ones you were like, not too sure what we're getting here. Henderson, he's just going to slot in seamlessly. And, well, Patrick's right. I think Callum went down to Notts County, but he hadn't really done anything for Celtic until he was 21, 22. He got that one spell at Notts County and I think he was scoring a goal every 3 games. We almost sold him, but luckily, I think Ronny saw the light and started playing him. I think Henderson's, he's in no worse off a position than Callum was at that age. We've got a good young squad that's going to need people. So I can see him getting games before the end of the season. But yeah, I think he's a great wee player. Never worry when I see him on the team lines. Some others are like, what's it going to be like today? I think Henderson's very consistent when he comes in. Just slots in, never looks out of place. Technically very good. So on the wings, false 9, yeah, can definitely see him being used. His brother's obviously had a few games with us before he went over to Italy. Seems to be doing well. And by all accounts, he's the better one, the one we've still got. So yeah, I think it's got a future at Celtic. It's too early to write the players off at kind of 21, 22, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I totally agree with you. Whenever I see him, come on or start for Celtic, I always think he's going to put a shift in for you. He can take a corner as well, which is always a positive. And that be a link from Callum McGregor at Notts County. That was when he was obviously teaching Jack Grealish's trade down there. Lawrence before Ronny Deila brought him back up the road. And congratulations to Ronny. It's the first time I've been on since he conquered America. So congratulations to Ronny. Absolutely delighted for him at the weekend, Patrick. Very emotional at the end from him, but yeah, I was delighted for Ronny Deila because, again, we're talking about newspapers spinning things, he was redemption or something, I think was the word that the DR used, whereas, this is a guy that's won the league championships in Norway, Scotland and the USA.
Yeah, I think they called him a Celtic flop when he won 50% of the trophies available to him when he was over here. You've seen managers move to England in recent weeks, being hailed as massive successes with 1 out of 9, whereas Ronny with 3 out of 6 is a Celtic flop. So I'm not sure how they've worked that one out. But absolutely, congratulations to him. I think everyone recognises he set the foundations for success under Brendan Rodgers' time at Celtic, with players like Armstrong, McGregor, Tierney, trying to improve the fitness but not quite managing it down to certain senior players. So absolutely, congratulations to him. What I am slightly disappointed in is we're the only team he's won a trophy at and he hasn't stripped off and done a bunch of press-ups. Quite happy to do it in New York and Storm Squad set. I'm just feeling a bit left out, guys, that's all. No, congratulations to him, and it's obviously been a while. You've seen with the emotions. I think it's been 5.5 years, so hopefully he wins another one awfully soon.
And again, even Efren Juarez as well done to him, former Hoops player, his assistant, and again they were brought together, Lawrence. But the Celtic, like the Ronnie's story is that they both met, I think, in a bar somewhere, started chatting about Celtic. Next thing you know,
yep.
A year or a few months later, there he's there as his assistant manager.
Yeah, Efren recognised me in an airport bar, come up to him and, are you Ronny Deila, the Celtic manager? Yeah. And as you say, now they've conquered the USA. But I think it speaks to Ronny, that there's not many managers win leagues, and he's done it Norway, Scotland, America. It does speak to his standard as much as a lot in Scotland would have you believe he's a flop. He was only denied a treble by, I think it was 5 unsighted opinion. They're trying the goal line officials at that time, weren't they, as well as the assistant ref and the ref, all perfectly sighted but unable to see a handball. So, but I don't think we got weeks of coverage a la the Kyogo offside for that. But Yeah, no, Ronnie's a cracking guy. Tried to modernise the club, as Patrick said, and if it hadn't been for the rebellion of some senior players, they might have achieved it. But if you look at the younger players like Tierney and McGregor that listened to him and took on board, look at the careers they've got just now.
Yeah, it's interesting to think, in terms of if Ronnie was ever to return to Celtic, maybe the kind of, the different mentality that's been set at this moment in time, Patrick, in terms of, a lot of focus on what you kind of describe as the modern game of football. But Paddy's come in, just to remind you, Patrick, it's probably too chilly in Scotland to do that. But anyway, moving on from Patrick getting excited about Ronny Deila getting
He did do it in Norway, by the way. Norway's a lot colder than Scotland.
There you go. You can hold him to that. Moving on from that, at the weekend, Lawrence, day after Ronny, New York City side won the cup. We played at home to Motherwell. Obviously, we knew they were going to have no striker after Kyogo went off injured against Real Betis. And looking at the way Celtic played on Sunday, I was at the game, of course. It looked as though Tommy Rogic, David Turnbull were stretching the game into the wide areas, and it was just a lot of interchanges going on in there. McGregor was going forward, Turnbull, Rogic. Obviously, Forrest went off, and Johnson came on. He was doing it again, and Abada on that side. The teams had to adapt to that, obviously due to no kind of target man. I know Kyogo's not a big guy, but he'll do the running and he'll be there when you need him. But how good is it that we can just adapt to that and get the victory? Because it's always going to be very difficult to do that. And with injury problems, I mean, Ange Postecoglou must be the unluckiest guy in the world just now with injury problems, that we can adapt and win games ugly like that.
Either unlucky or his players get no protection. I'm not too sure, or maybe a combination of both. But yeah, I mean, our new signing, Stephen Tomlinson, was on covering the game with myself and Laura. And the team, because of Ange's philosophy and his style, they just seem to be able to adapt. You could still recognise it. He still played the same way, still the high press. So it's great that you can, it was only 1-0, but it could have been 5 or 6, let's be honest, if we'd taken our chances. I think Rogic could have had a hat-trick. It's great that we're managing to grind out results. Last season, that's a draw or we lose. So we just need to keep putting results together. And I think Ange has spoken about that. He's saying to him, look, every time you're asked, you're stepping up. We might be short in numbers at the moment, but, it's counting down to the transfer window. It's 5 games away now. We've got Ross County, which obviously you're travelling to, the cup final, which will take care of itself. So it's just ticking games off just now until the transfer window opens. And goodness knows, maybe when the transfer window opens, big Chris Julian might even be fit by then. But
2 years are wishing for wonders. It's not Christmas yet, boys. 2 years are wishing for too much. But Patrick, Sunday was always going to be a tough game without the injury problems that we had. But as Lawrence touches on there, it's just about ticking games off, grinding them out. And I thought, personally, 1-0 didn't really do Celtic justice. It could have been 2 or 3 before half-time. We created a lot of chances in the game. You can see that with the XG, I think, that's created in the game as well. And, I thought, Celtic were thoroughly in control of the game, unlike Ewan Henderson, the referee, who wasn't in control of the game whatsoever.
Yes. Unfortunately, I missed the game. I was at a birthday lunch / dinner. But I have seen the highlights, and I did actually catch a fair bit of the second half. And I was quite shocked. I seen there was a corner taken in the 68th minute. And I've wanted Celtic to try this for years, where one player rolls the ball, and then Turnbull, I think it was Taylor that rolled the ball, Turnbull went up to it and just started running with it. And, obviously you're quite shocked when you see that, but when you see the replay, you realise it's actually quite clever, and the referee's not clever enough to spot it, so he's pulled it back. Because Inverness scored from it about 7-8 years ago, doing that. But no, as you say, totally lost control of the game. I think he lost control of the game before the game started. I think he forgot to lead the team out or something, and just letting silly fouls away, blowing for fouls that weren't there. The one thing he did get right was the foul that led to our goal, right enough, because God knows how anyone can watch that and not think it's a foul. Quite clearly,
there is some people.
Not of a Celtic persuasion, I don't think. Mikey Johnson jumped for the ball and he's pushed in the back. I mean, how that isn't a foul, I don't know. Not a very impressive refereeing performance. He was refereeing League One football the weekend before, I believe, and I think that's probably still a level too high for him. I think, maybe if we had full-time referees and these people, their job depended on it, they were analysed by guys higher up in the SFA every single week, maybe they'd improve, maybe they wouldn't, who knows. But, something has to change.
Yeah, something does have to change. Lawrence, I know I don't really need to give you too much to go on this topic, but as Patrick says, I think he did forget to lead the teams out. Some of the challenges early on in the game were horrendous. And even, I think Motherwell might even feel a bit aggrieved. There was a one with Starfelt in the box, and I looked at it and I thought, in any other given day, I actually could have given that as a Motherwell penalty. But once again, just a complete incompetent display by another Scottish football referee at Celtic Park. And again, it's not us coming on just because we've got an issue with referees. We've won the game and we're calling it out as we should do.
Yeah, I mean, look at it when Roderick's breaking. He's just inside our half. And Motherwell centre-half pulls him back. It's a yellow card. The boy's taking one for the team. We get the free kick, but no yellow. Or Taylor taking really late. Good advantage played. Doesn't go by and book him. And I think the corner just sums it up. It's obvious Taylor's rolled it out at the arc. Ball's now in play, ref. And you just think they can't get worse, but kind of appears week on week, it's almost as if they are. I don't know how they train them or what they do with them, but they just seem particularly poor. And there doesn't seem any appetite within the SFA to, do anything about it. The head of referees not come out and spoke about a handball at the weekend. There was a pretty glaring wrong decision, or, yellow cards not given when they should. But, he'll come out and speak about a marginal offside decision. It just seems a bit haphazard the way that they run things. And, professional game really does deserve a professional setup with the referees, doesn't it? But maybe we should just be like Ange. Ange says, worry about the things that we can control. And we know Celtic are never going to be able to control the referees.
Well, no. And I think Celtic fans for the rest of time will probably be warning about referees until there's some change to the current setup. Patrick, we're getting described here as a Ronny Living. That we all wanted him going and that he was flops. What was your take on that? Because there's been a bit of mixed discussion in the comments. Like to bring in the comments. But as you said, it was 3 out of 6. And in his first season, had it not been for a bad refereeing decision, they probably went on to win the treble, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you score that goal, you're 2-0 up at half-time and you've got Falkirk in the final. So you've got to assume that we'd win the treble, barring a refereeing decision, It is down to Ronny that he didn't stamp his authority in the team. I think it didn't help that the board were never fully behind him.
Yes.
I think the board expected him to come in as an assistant to either...
Especially if you look at the signings in the second season, I think. Carlton Colin, players like this coming in.
Yeah, very disappointing. I mean, I think he was expected to be the assistant to Neil Lennon or Roy Keane, one of the two. He ends up being the full-time manager. He does get some of his own players, and I don't think it helps that he started with Joe and Jaberget. I think if he got another 2 or 3 players like Johansson, he would have fared better. But, the guys like, Mulgrew and Stokes, who were good players for Celtic, but they didn't buy into Ronnie's philosophy, and, it's you can pin that on them for disrespecting the manager, but you've also got to look at the manager and say, you should have just sold those guys. You should have just put them in the bench and not played them, because if they're not going to respect you, then it totally undermines everything you're doing. But no, I think, he's a progressive coach. He likes to play attacking football. He likes to press the ball. I think he's a great guy. He sounds a lot of fun on a night out as well.
That comes in that comment there from Brown Warrior that's coming in there. That said, without the 2 years of that 4-2-3-1 in the high press, Roger starts from zero coming in. I mean, you say, Patrick, and follow on in Lawrence, he did set the foundations for some of the football that Celtic played in. It's probably no coincidence that when Brendan Rodgers walked into the building, Lawrence, we didn't see Charlie Mulgrew, Anthony Stokes or Chris Commons feature for Celtic.
Yeah, no, I think, after the kind of player rebellion, their time was finished, wasn't it? I think Rodgers himself said that he was lucky that Ronnie had laid the foundations. All he had to add was 2 or 3 good players, and that was it. So Cal McGregor and Kieran Tierney will certainly be thankful that they got to play under Ronnie. And it looks like we've got a manager now that's also quite willing to develop young players and give them their chance. And he's putting in a style of play that's consistent week in, week out, isn't it? We can recognise that as that style of this current Celtic team, which, speaking to Yogi Hughes at the weekend, he said he'd have loved to have played in. Could have played an attacking team, can play anywhere across the front three. Said it would suit them down to the ground.
Yeah, I think 189 goals is John Hughes' record for Celtic. He's Celtic's 5th highest goal scorer. So I think, as you say, Lawrence, quite a versatile player. In the 60s, could play out in that winger up front and scored a barrel of the goals for Celtic. But going back to Motherwell, Patrick, it's a great goal that we score. But a lot of people comparing it to the goal against that Sean Maloney scored. I think that was possibly against Motherwell. I can't remember. It was at Hampden, 2006 or so. Just with that big blockage of defenders there. But David Turnbull, doesn't take the credit for it. He said it was all Callum McGregor after his wee word in his ear. Callum McGregor got a bit of recognition yesterday for his efforts. He, in his maiden season as captain, he's just continuing to grow and lead Celtic, and I think he's going to be a very successful captain for Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, it was a really good goal, Tom. Callum does well to spot it. Turnbull, great pass, and then Roderick does exceptionally well to lift it into the corner and get it through all those bodies, because I think it goes through 3 or 4 players and then past the goalkeeper as well. So fantastic idea and fantastically executed. And as you say about McGregor, it was, I think Kieran Tierney said in an interview last year that he'll definitely be captain, he'll definitely be successful, and it's turned out true so far. I mean, Sunday will be the first big test, but you can see how much it means to him, especially in recent weeks. Full time in the semi-final against St Johnstone, he was right up to the fans. When he scored with his backside against Aberdeen, he went right up to the fans screaming and shouting. So you can see how much it means to him. He doesn't want to be the guy that followed Scott Brown and didn't win anything. So he probably wants to get a few trophies under his belt as soon as he possibly can. And he's got a perfect opportunity this season, because I think we are well in it for 3, if not 4 trophies this season. Oh,
that's a big statement to make. We'll all talk about our Norwegian counterparts, which we'll face in February. But Lawrence, obviously, you watched the game, and as I was talking earlier about the shape that we were playing, McGregor was a big influence, I thought, in the game on Sunday, as he always is every week. But just getting those interchanges, getting balls to feet, and he lets guys like Rogic and Turnbull go and do their creative bit. We've spoken a lot on here, probably speak about it every week in here. People are probably bored days talking about that 6, 8, 10. But when he's in there and he's playing those balls, he just lets Rogic and Turnbull go and do the stuff. And again, I thought Tom Rogic at the weekend was superb, not just because of his goal. He got 90 minutes out of him again, and it was just something we're not used to seeing. But he's doing it this season, and he's doing it, practically every week.
Yeah, he could have the hat-trick, couldn't he? Could have the hat-trick, Tom. But yeah, brilliant again. He's, as you said, 90-minute players. I think Callum at the 6 is just quicker than Beaton and McCarthy. He just moves the ball really quick for them, doesn't he? So we catch the other teams in transition quicker. The amount of ground he covers, when he's cleaning up for other players, he just easily, for me, the best player in the team, Kettlemark. Yeah. Maiden season as captain, as Patrick says, could be 4 trophies. We're still in the hunt for all of the trophies, I suppose. We've got the final at the weekend. Hopefully it's Callum's first as captain and Ange's first as manager. It'd be great to see. Very much then draws an all parallel with the Win Janssen team, doesn't it? When they came in and won the Coca-Cola Cup and kicked on from there. So hopefully it can be the same for Ange's team.
Yeah, we'll get on to kind of talk about the cup final, because it's, it's not far away now. It's kind of snuck up upon us. But one of the other subs I thought was really interesting at the weekend, Patrick, I think Ange said that Mikey possibly felt something, didn't want to take the risk, so took him off after having to put him back on. that was bringing Ralston on and putting Juranovic forward, and a couple of minutes later after that, Juranovic is bombing down the right-hand side and puts in a great ball that we nearly scored from. Bit a different substitution from Ange Postecoglou, that probably forced by obviously Mikey Johnson, but bit different from Ange's approach. But again, as I said, it was good to see Celtic grind out a game like that against Motherwell and get the 3 points.
Yeah, and as much as we dominated the game, it is only 1-0 and Motherwell did have their chances, so it is important to try and solidify yourself at the back and limit their chances to as little as possible. But no, I think Tormogic should actually score. He just he opens his boot too much. I think if we're thinking of the right chances, he opens his boot too much because he goes right to the byline, Juranovic, and I didn't realise how fast he was. Every week I'm shocked at just how quick he is, because I don't think he was as comfortable at left back, because he was taking touches and passing with his right foot, and he's at the left hand touchline, but looks a lot more assured, and he looks like he could even play right wing if he wanted to.
He might have to.
Hopefully it won't come to that. I think everyone knows my views on playing players out of position, but no, another solid win, and just sort of on to Wednesday night.
But that's on Wednesday night. See, the beginning of the season, with Dan and Jared on from Boys Down Under saying, look, Ange, you're going to lose goals. Don't worry about defence, it's all about attack. But he's come in and he's really sorted out the defence, first of all, hasn't he? We've got best record in Scotland defensively. You're kind of going, this is almost the opposite of what we expected in terms of the defence just being left, whereas he's really come in and Patrick said he just limits the chances other teams get. It's probably, a first choice defence on the park for one of the few times this season, and looking rock solid again.
Yeah, and one of the key personnel in that defence, Lawrence, is Joe Hart. And again at the weekend, I know it was offside, but it's a cracking double save. He puts his body in the line. He doesn't know he's offside. He doesn't know it's offside at the time. And I think those are big moments in games that we just didn't get last season. You've got a good goalkeeper who I think we all trust at times. Yeah, we get a wee bit nervy when the ball's put in the back, but when we need the big moments out of Joe Hart this season, he's given us it. And those are moments in games where I think that we push on, because you see him getting up and he's telling his defenders to sort themselves out. And, I think he's been a real key part of this Ange Postecoglou Celtic side.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely bought into it, hasn't he? I mean, he's taken a huge wage cut to come and play here. He just wants to play football, but you see how quickly he's getting the ball off the ball boys and moving it quickly. I saw kind of Cat Vickers telling him to calm down at one point. He's like, no, mate, just over the top of him up to Rogic. Listen, we're going again. We're not stopping. He's got to inspire confidence with the boys at the back. I mean, last season, when Barkas, Bain and Connor Hazard, the boy that done a lot to win us the quadruple treble in that final. But I think Joe's just head and shoulders above all the other keepers at the club.
Yeah, he absolutely is head and shoulders above them. Good pun, Lawrence. Gerard Riley came in to say, Motherwell's, it was very good 3 points, but I'm concerned that the amount of missed chances will bite us on the Khyber pass. Crying out to kill games, please. Patrick, on that, Celtic aired an interview yesterday with Kyogo Furuhashi. I don't know if that was teasing us towards the cup final. And he spoke about he wants to score 20 goals this season, and he is annoyed at himself that he is missing chances. Is it just that, I still think Celtic, we could have taken a lot more than 3 off at Dundee United, but possibly before Christmas or just after, the team's going to get an absolute doing off us?
Yeah, I think so. And, I don't want to bring up XG too much, but these things sort of balance themselves out,
They're important to talk about.
No, it is. Did we deserve to score 6 against both Dundee and St Mirren? Almost, but probably not. So did we deserve to score more against Aberdeen, Hearts and Motherwell at home? Yeah, we probably did. But these things are balanced, and the stats do say we've got a lot more wins to come. Whether they're grinding 1-0s or winning 3-0 away at Tannadice, more wins are to come. So I suppose that's good news. But, I think in December particularly, I'm not really fussed about how we win the game or what the scoreline is, as long as we win the game, because it's such a tough month that you're looking to pick up a trophy. You could say the league's decided in a month like this, and then you get, for a footballer, it's quite a long holiday after it. I think they get a week off and then it's 2 weeks training, one in Dubai and one in Lennoxtown, and then you're immediately back into a must-win cup game. So, I'll take any win right up until January the 2nd.
Yeah, I think that 2 week break, especially whenever Celtic decide to go, and just getting in the training ground, Lawrence, getting back to basics with Ange Postecoglou. A lot of the guys came in quite late. We're hoping to add, I think it's 3 additions from the J League into that Celtic team. That all bodes well for the future.
Yeah, especially if we can get them in, as soon as the transfer window opens. Ange's worked with one of them before. He knows the style of the other two, so we're assuming that they're going to fit his system pretty well. And I think it's all about getting that time in the training pitch with Ange, because the amount of games we've got just now, they're not, we've just played Sunday, but we're playing tomorrow night. We're not going to be doing a lot of training in between those games. I think the more time he gets in the training pitch with him, the more this team's going to improve. Listen, tick the games off till it opens up, see who comes in. Hopefully it's, the 3 from the J League, and we've got our eyes, maybe another couple, because we are really light. We don't know where we'll be sitting injury-wise then as well, because it just seems every week it's getting added to, doesn't it? If we can tick those games off with wins and get some fresh blood into the team, I think it'll be brilliant. Yeah,
that would be a big bonus. And again, Patrick, there might be a wee bit of worry, but obviously we're talking about arrivals coming into Celtic Park. But Albayeti sustained that hamstring injury against Real Betis. It probably means a long layoff. I don't know how many teams would probably want to touch him now, if that's going to be the case in January, if he's going to be out for a while. I do imagine Vasilis Barkas will depart the building, nowhere to be seen on the bench on Wednesday night. So probably Barkas out the building, but Ayeti with that injury, not so sure now.
No, probably not. I mean, there's not been as many rumours with Ayeti as there has been with Barkas. So it's not as if it was a done deal and the injury scuppered anything. But it just makes it a bit harder to, sell a player on. It's not like Kevin Tierney where he had 3-4 years of proven world-class talent there. Ayeti struggled for 18 months and now he's injured for a long period of time. So I think that's going to be one for the summer, personally. But, it'll be good to get these guys off the wage bill because it's not working for them, it's not working for us, and it's just costing us money. So, yeah, good to get rid of them. And, just on Joe Hart, I think he's made, it's several double saves he's made. And, a few of them have been offside, but he's done pretty well for a guy who is allegedly weak on his, lower left-hand side. And he's very, very important to how we play out from the back because Bain, Barkas and Gordon were never quick to get the ball out there. Whereas Hart's a second or two, he doesn't give anyone any time. He's right out there, trying to get the ball to Abada, Jota, Kyogo, Turnbull, whoever. So I think he's extremely important to how we play.
Yeah, he is extremely important to how we play. Lawrence, we've kind of reached the halfway point. On here before we talk about Ross County in the Cup final, I just want to announce that the money raised from the charity weekender, the auctions, all in £28,000, absolutely remarkable. From everybody that tunes into the channel, from everyone that's donated on the auction and over the weekend, thank you so much. I'm no Canon Tom White, will appreciate it. The people of the parish of St Alphonsus and St Mary's Kelton will appreciate it. It's an absolutely phenomenal amount of money to have raised over the weekend at this point in time, and it will take that worry away as we enter still uncertain times at this moment in time. But Lawrence, just on that, an absolutely incredible amount to have raised over the weekend.
Yep, absolutely. It's amazing, thanks to everyone that donated, watched the charity weekender, all the other Celtic podcasts for coming on, people that bid in eBay. Absolutely. I think the only thing missing is if Celtic can maybe step up and do something and give something back to the parish that gave us Celtic. So whether Celtic done that directly or through their charity foundation, it'd be great if they could maybe do something.
Yeah, but Patrick,
disconnect between Celtic and the fans, you wouldn't believe it, would you?
We all know about that. But as Lawrence said there, Patrick, hopefully that's something the club might look at some point. But, for just now, £28,000, phenomenal amount. Thanks to all the podcasters as well. Really big team effort from everybody involved in it. In fact, everybody that donated and tuned in over the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. 24 hours of content over a weekend. To get all this organised. Paul, John, and Kelvin in the background as well, who might not have featured for much of the 24 hours, but totally vital to what was going on. Everyone who donated, everyone who bid in the auction, everyone who came on the channel, commented, liked the videos, shared the videos. It's a phenomenal amount, and I think us three are aware of how far that money will go in the parish and in the community and all that. Especially at this time of year, especially in the coming years after what's happened with COVID the last 21 months. So phenomenally important and absolutely impressive. Yeah.
So huge thank you to everyone that tuned in, donated, everybody that took part. Absolutely fantastic. But Lawrence, Ross County away, it's a place where we struggled at the last time we were there. We had one of our better performances of last season up there. We won 5-0. It's when we all thought, this may be coming together. And then we all know what happened after that. But we placed Ross County this season. We won 3-0 at Celtic Park. But it took quite a while to get the breakthrough in that game. I do imagine Ross County will have a bit of a different approach up in Dingwall tomorrow night. It took to 64 minutes. If you remember, it was that looping shot from Captain Vickers taking a step out and having a dig. How do you think we'll approach the game tomorrow night? There's a lot of people in the comments saying that they maybe want a few changes to the team, but how do you think Ange will set his team up to face the Staggies?
I think it's going to be the same style. He's going to set up 4-3-3. I don't think he's going to change too much. Injury permitting, I don't think we're going to say Kyogo or Jota or anything, but Kyogo or Jota back. Don't know how serious it is with Forrest and Mikey, but I think Ange is going to go same philosophy, all attack. Will Ross County do anything different? I don't think they will. I think they'll just try and pack the defence again and hit us on the break or at a set piece. I think that's kind of what teams have resigned themselves to. I think they know if they open up, they're going to get destroyed. So I think they go, right, our best chance of a point here is keep it tight, get people behind the ball, try and hit in the break or from a set piece. So from that, I don't think that there's going to be any surprises. It's just going to be how the front three works and indeed who the front three is going to be.
Patrick's back in. Just on that, Patrick, Lawrence is talking about teams opening up against us. There's a possibility that they might get a bit of gubbing if they do that. But Ross County, impressive this season in terms of something you were talking about earlier next year in terms of goals. They've scored more goals than Hibernian, Dundee United and Motherwell so far this season, so they can create, they can certainly take chances. 3-2 win at the weekend against Dundee, another one of the teams that are struggling down there. But Ross County so far this season have been a bit of a surprise package in terms of the way that they go forward, and they're quite clinical when they do go forward, Ross County.
Yeah, I mean, really, really bad start, and their performances didn't merit the results that they got. And then I think they beat Dundee 4 or 5-0, and that was a bit of a turning point because they've been on a great run, and I don't wish them any luck because of the manager they've decided to go with this season. However, the manager they've decided to go with does have them playing good. They're creating their chances. They're due more. We've just spoken about XG. They're due more good results. If XG is correct, if it also balances itself out by the end of the season, hoping that good result doesn't happen on Wednesday night. But I think they'll be safe. I think you're probably looking at teams like St Johnstone and Livingston and Dundee. Those are the main three battling out at the bottom. I think Ross County will be safe. So I'm hoping we can get an early lead, maybe 2-0 at half time, and get a lot of our players off because need to wrap them in cotton wool for that cup final, the way our injury list is growing.
Yeah. Lawrence, on that, Ross County, talking about goals there, but they are a threat at set pieces. They've got a few big players in there. Is that something you worry about? Or, Starfield Vickers again at the back. We do seem as if we've came leaps and bounds in terms of that being our sticking point last season, especially. I mean, we do know that a Celtic team can score goals.
Listen, we don't lose a lot of goals, but the majority of the goals we'll lose come from set pieces. So, yeah, it's something that without Ange will have them switched on and be aware of. Don't give away too many set pieces. But I think County, although they've got like a high XG, they'll play differently against Celtic to they play against the St Mirren or a Dundee when they get these high XGs. So I'm expecting to sit and try and hit us on the break and from set pieces. Patrick's touched on it. If you get the early goal, it opens it up a bit, especially if we can get to 2. Then they really need to come out. When it's still sitting 1-0, you're still a bit nervous. I mean, look at the weekend there, with 15 to go, the team looked knackered. Ange, we've seen him change the front 3 before at that stage. We don't have that luxury just now where we can change that. So, yeah, it's try to get the game done first half, I think, for me. Get those 2 goals in and listen, see who we can rest then and who we can put on out of the squad. It'd be good to see Scales get some game time again. I know Taylor's just back, so I'd imagine we're going to be managing him back into the team. We won't want to be maybe playing 3 or 4 games in a row, full 90 minutes. So I think getting Scales some game time would be good. Maybe even Henderson, depending on how, Mikey and Jamesy are, because whoever's, we've got obviously Ross County's first, but we've got to be thinking about who's going to be fit for the cup final. What stage are they going to be at? How many minutes will they have in their legs before it? So I think hopefully a couple of goals for first half and then get on some of the fringe players and try and get some minutes in their legs.
Yes, I think probably that is a better way to approach the game, Patrick, in terms of who can we take off rather than who can we not start with. I expect a strong team up there tomorrow night, starting for Celtic. What team do you think Ange will go with?
In terms of the starting 11?
Yeah.
Joe Hart, obviously. I think he'll stick to the back 4. Taylor, Starfelt, Carter Vickers. I think he might bring Ralston on. I'm not sure. It could be either of the 2 of them. Saying that, he could start Jovanovic in the right wing, with Forrest probably missing out.
Possibly.
And Kyogo and Jota almost certainly missing out. He might start Jovanovic up top. McGregor, Turnbull, Rogic. I'd maybe like to see Ewan Henderson come off the bench. Up top, that's a challenging one. I take that back. Maybe Beaton in the midfield and McGregor and Rogic in the midfield with him, and then maybe Turnbull up top like at the weekend, and then probably Johnston and Abada maybe.
If Mikey's fit.
Yes, also if Mikey's fit, yes. Well, I think it was a precaution taking him off. I think it was largely fitness, so fingers crossed, because he's not been the best this season, but if he's out, we really are delving deep into the squad.
But it's something that we can do in terms of delving deep into the squad, because now you get players there that we can look at and say, well, they could do as a turn. Not that I'm saying Ange Postecoglou is going to go back to Osazi, Reggie, Liam Shaw and Ewan Henderson tomorrow night, but he certainly knows he can trust these guys, Lawrence. But again, I think as you made a really good point on it all depends on when that goal comes. I think the game at home to Ross County was quite stuffy. It took to 64 minutes, and when the goal did come, we got another 2 through Albion Ayeti short corner. If you remember that game, but yeah, I think it does depend on when the goal comes in the game, Lawrence. And again, spoke there about it could have been a lot more against Motherwell, but Kelly, Liam Kelly, I think his name is, a Motherwell goalkeeper, fairly decent game at the weekend, pulled off a few really good saves, but yeah, I think, as you say, Lawrence, get that early goal, quite a long night for Ross County.
Yeah, I think a problem's going to be who's fit to play in the wings, never mind up front as well. Owen Moffat's been training with the first team. Could we see him making an appearance on the bench just to give us that option out there? If Mikey's taken off as a precaution, how fit is he? So we're going to need options, are we? It's going to be really strange, that front 3. And I could see Juranovic actually just playing on the right, Antonio Ralston behind him. It just fills a problem position for us just now in terms of fitness. And then you're going, right, if we play with who plays up front, could we try Abada through the middle? Who knows? And then on the left, maybe he'll try Montgomery again. I don't know. It didn't look to happen too much from the last time he played left wing, but it's an option. And we don't have a lot of them just now, which is a worry.
Mm-hmm. No, Adam Montgomery's a good shout, Lawrence, there, because we've saw him featured this season Not played too much after they get that win and assist up at Pittodrie, Patrick, but he's now starting to play in that left wing. It looks as if that is possibly going to be his preferred position. Taylor's now back. Obviously, Skillswell can play there. We've played Juranovic there. So, would that be a shout for you? Coming out on that left-hand side if we badly needed it?
Maybe. I mean, I disagree with both of you. I think he's a left back, personally.
No chance.
Because he was a left winger up until about 2.5 years ago, and he's been playing left back for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Ange will be making that decision, not any of us three. But, to deputise, to fill a gap, I think, yes, he can play left wing. Don't think he had his best game against Betis, which is what's making me think he's a left back, to be honest. Because I think he's good going forward, but I don't know, I think he struggled to beat a man. But then again, it's pretty hard to get past a Spanish defender. So, hard to say, but I think, yes, he would do a job. The worry is going into the cup final, how many, who are we relying on here? Because if Johnston is struggling for fitness and then is injured up at Dingwall, who is the front three for the cup final? Is it Montgomery, Turnbull and Abada or something?
Well, you never know who could appear back for the cup final.
Yes, it could all be mind games, just like Leverkusen. But I'll just be saying decades of the rosary up until kick-off, I think.
Well, I know you do that. Majority of the time, most Celtic games, Patrick, so that's fine. But Paradise 63's came in here with a team of Hart, Ralston, Vickers, Starfield, Taylor, McGregor, Turnbull, Rogic, Juranovic, Abada and Montgomery. If that's what Ange Postecoglou went off last night, I'd be quite happy with that. Again, Patrick, I take your point, and the Beaton maybe get in there because he can do a job in there. And a game like this, got Sean coming in to say Hart, Ralston, Starfield, Vickers, he went Scales in at left back, Beaton in there, just as I mentioned, McGregor, Turnbull, Johnston, if he's fit, Rogic and Juranovic. We'll see what the team is come Wednesday night, of course. I think Ange will possibly doing a presser today as well. We might get some hints at who is fit and who isn't fit. But Lawrence, as Patrick says, that it might just all be mind games, just as long as it's not another Lewis Morgan up front like it was in the League Cup final 2 years ago.
Yeah, it didn't turn out too badly, but...
No, it never turned out badly. Turned out badly for everybody's nerves in 90 minutes, but the result was fine.
Look, it's really just kind of managing the players at this stage. No doubt Ange is he's smart enough to play mind games. He caught everyone out earlier in the season, so hopefully there's some players return for the League Cup final. But whoever gets picked in the Cup final, you'd expect us to have enough to beat Hibs, wouldn't you? They're on a horrendous run of form. They've got a stand-in manager at the moment. You'd expect us to have enough. Hopefully tomorrow night we see some performances with the guys that are given their chance up top, in the front three positions, that maybe it gives us a bit more hope that they'll be able to do it in the cup final. But yeah, listen, as long 1-0 in the next two games would be outstanding for me. Whether it's an 89th minute goal or a first minute goal, it's just about winning the games just now until we get players back and the transfer window opens, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. Totally agree with you there, mate. If it was 1-0 from now until the rest of the season, I don't think any would have any complaints, because if it was that, we'd win every trophy going. So, yeah. But you mentioned Hibs there, Patrick. On to Hibs. They played Dundee tonight. Their chief executive, I think, or their chairman's came out being cancelled to say that they're hopeful the process is coming to a conclusion soon. Our former manager has been ruled out. Derek McInnes has been ruled out. Alec Neil have been ruled out. 3 of the people linked with that job. They're closing in on our new manager. If they do get that new manager in before the end of the week, how big a lift could that be for Hibernian? Because we know just now, they're not in great shakes. They're 7th in the league. Even if they do beat Dundee tonight, they'll still be 7th in the league. But could a potential new manager come in there and give them a big lift?
They might give them a lift, but I'm not sure a lift is enough to outscore Celtic on Sunday. Our philosophy is limit the chances of the opponent and attack whenever you have the ball. So for them to counter that on Sunday, just through having a new manager bounce. I don't think that's possible personally. Maybe I'm just being an optimist. Well,
you know,
it is Hibs we're playing, but no, maybe that's me being an optimist. No, I don't think the manager will make a particular difference. I think if they're going to win the game, they're going to win the game. But it'll be interesting to see who it is, because I think a lot of the names that we expected Hibs to go for have been ruled out now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, this is one of the names I've just put up the screen here. Sean Maloney is now the bookies' favourite to take over at Easter Road. Obviously, you know, bookies' favourites don't mean anything in terms of the grand scale of things when it comes to managers. But Lawrence, that would be an interesting appointment if it was to be Sean Maloney, if he was to come to Hibs. I'm not too sure about that one myself, that would actually happen. But if that was it, could you see a figure like Sean Maloney giving Hibs a big boost going into this final for Sunday? Obviously, David Gray, their cup final hero from 5 years ago, is going to be in charge tonight. There's potential that he'll be there on Sunday, but you know, could players be up in their game a wee bit to show something to the new manager in the cup final on Sunday if he's there?
I think, you know, you're always going to get a lift from a new manager, aren't you? Players are always going to want to impress. But listen, it's a cup final. Should it lift them any more than the chance to win the cup against the best team in Scotland? I'd be surprised. Whoever comes in, he's not going to have a lot of time to work with them. David Gray's, let's be honest, it's going to be his team. It's like that time, you know, Lou McCarry came in for the game at Ibrox. We all know that was Frank Connor's team that won that game. So it's kind of that whoever the new manager is, he won't have time really to do a lot with them before the cup final. So yeah, Maloney would be interesting for them. I don't think he'd go, but you know, be interesting to see if he went. He always speaks well when he's on, you know, giving his analysis on the TV. He's obviously served an apprenticeship under Martinez, so it'd be an interesting choice for them. You said they'd ruled out our ex-manager. Which one was that, Lenny or Delia, that's been ruled out? Because I just need to know who's still in the running.
All of them.
Yeah, I don't know if Ronny would maybe fancy switching life in New York for rainy leaf, but you know, you don't know. But I think
rainy leaf. I thought it was sunshine down there.
Nah, but it's just going to be rainy on Sunday, mate. Don't worry about that. There'll be no sunshine and leaf come Sunday. But we're getting told here, never mind Hibernian, we are Celtic, and we are that, Patrick. And Celtic's record at Hampden since, you know, 2016 is absolutely phenomenal. Just to kind of run down on that record, they last lost at Hampden in 90 minutes in January 2016 against Ross County, funnily enough. We last lost a final that we competed in at Hampden in 2012. And in terms of the League Cup, a cup that, you know, Celtic have struggled in throughout our history. Out of the 7 past finals, we've competed in 5 of them, and we've won all 5 of them. And as wee man Bertie all just to say, you know, we thought Hampden was our training ground. It has become that in recent years. It's time to get that going again, isn't it, come Sunday?
100%. And, you know, the big pitch suits us. It's a really impressive record when you consider we've played, 10 or 12 games since January 2016, and we haven't lost any in 90 minutes. So, really impressive. And, yeah, I mean, I think we had 14 League Cups about 7 years ago. This could be our 20th. And when you even consider, you know, the great Jock Stein, I think he was like 2 out of 9 or 2 out of 8 or something. He really, really struggled with the League Cups. I don't know whether, you know, it's always been referred to as the Diddy Cup. I don't see it that way personally.
He won, but, you know, no, I don't know if it's 2.
It's a very low amount anyway.
5 or 6. No, he won 3 or 4 back to back.
He lost trebles. So
he lost quite a few finals, would be my point.
Yeah. Stein won the League Cup, I think, 65, 66, 67. He won it 68. He won it 60. He won it 5 times in a row. Lost out in 70. Lost out in 71. Thistle fans will remind us of that one. And that kind of, I think, post 70s, not a great record, but pre 1970, I think it's 5 in a row Stein won in League Cups, just in case anybody gives you it stinking for that, because I don't want you getting told off, you know.
No. You're always here to correct me. No, it's a great record we've got, and you know, you know, 14 trophies in 70 years, and then to go 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7.
5
Great
out of 7,
record.
possibly 6 out of 8 come Sunday.
Aye, so great record, and hopefully it is 6 out of 8, as you say.
Lawrence, as a banner headline says, the selection dilemma facing Ange Postecoglou for first final. We hope that whatever team he plays tomorrow night gets through it, no injuries, and we're fit and ready to go for Sunday. But we've spoken about the Hibbies getting a boost if they get a new manager, and by then, how big a boost could it be? We've read Ange's comments. He's saying if you ask Kyogo, does he want to play? He'll say yes, he's fit. And if you ask the medical team, they'll say 2-3 weeks. Is it worth it for maybe 10-15 minutes if we're struggling, just to throw him on if he's on the bench?
I think he's on record also saying we risked Jamesy at the weekend and he wasn't 100% fit, so you can kind of know what can go wrong. It really depends what our options are going to be. Nothing more or nothing less than that, doesn't it? Depends after tomorrow night how we're performed and do we have anyone else added to the list of unfit. So, across that front three, we're just so short just now. If Owen Moffat comes in and comes off the bench and gives us a hat-trick tomorrow night, it might alleviate kind of all our worries. But I think maybe we're a bit early. I know we won't be on before the cup final again, but it's one game at a time, surely, and not least just to pick up the points, but just to see who's going to be fit after tomorrow night and ready for the cup final. If Kyogo's got any chance, listen, we might have no option but to put him on the bench. We might be that short. It could be Kyogo's 90% fit, James's 40% fit. That's where we could be sitting with everything.
But in big games like that, it's possibly worth this. And Jungle Lion is reminding us, as Patrick has, Newcastle with their new manager are still. I wonder who that could be. Not a clue who could be talking about there.
No.
Just to correct myself, I said Celtic won the League Cup 68-69. The format changed that season, as I remember. We gubbed Hibs, I think 5-2. It was played in the March of 60, and they went back to do it in the October time. We beat St Johnstone 1-0. Just so
take a repeat of that.
Yeah, nobody. Aye, there you go. 5-2. That would be an alright score. I think Bobby Leonard scored a hat-trick that day. If anybody can do that for us on Sunday, we'll all be delighted. Yesterday, just to conclude here, I think the draw was live when Paul, Amy and Tony were on yesterday, but we were drawn against Bodo Glimt. Lawrence, not Glint, as Celtic made the mistake with early on and to delete their tweet. Bodo Glimt, they are Norwegian champions. They have came to everybody's attention after they absolutely battered Roma. Yeah, Roma reserve side. 3 points to win the league off of Molde, an old foe that we know a lot about. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Molde, who beat us obviously in that 2015-16 season. All the people who are giving us tight about Ronny will be back on reminding us of that Molde game. But Bodo Glimt will be a stern test. I don't think Ange Postecoglou takes any side lightly. We've made significant improvements in Europe, I think, since that first game kicked off against Midtjylland. It'll be a tough test. It's not the big long journeys that we're worried about. When Karabag and Maccabi Tel Aviv came out very early on in the draw, I thought it was a sigh of relief because that would affect us. But Bodo, Lawrence, the league season finished in November. They won't start their season again till March. Could that benefit Celtic as well as a January transfer window lodged right in the middle of that?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think the January transfer window is going to be more important to us because we're so threadbare. I said Patrick Berg's been linked with us. If he's been linked with us, he's been linked with a few clubs around about Europe. So I'm pretty sure there'll be clubs looking at Bodo's players and trying to pick up the best of them from them. Not having played is definitely going to have affected them. If we can get the right players in, Big Chris could even be back. Get most of our players back from injury. Bodo's going to be hard. Small stadium, artificial pitch. We love those kind of grounds, don't we? It's almost like the Norwegian Livingston. So yeah, it's a tough tie for us, but I think it is advantage us, the fact that they been playing football for a while, and hopefully we've got a few more players in and we've still been playing. So we always talk about match fitness. So hopefully we have it and they don't. But yeah, it's one that you'd want to. Yeah, I would like to see us go through. I know they beat Roma, but I think Ange will take us through that tie.
Yeah, and Patrick is, Jimbo's come in the comments here saying, Berg could be going by the time we meet. He possibly could be. He's been the guy that's been tipped to get a move away from Bodo Glimt. But and again on that, January transfer window, we've spoken enough about Hatate, Maeda, and Ideguchi. All those additions to that Celtic side should only make us stronger. Hopefully Jota back, Kyogo back, I'd imagine, for those games. Don't know what other business we'll do in January. We should be in a better place come February when we do place Bodo Glimt. Don't know where they'll be in terms of recruitment, in terms of their squad. And do you think that wee layoff, November to March, could benefit us? Because we'll basically be Bodo Glimt's probably pre-season game.
I think it could. I think the 6-1 against Roma is a bit of a deception, because it is a Roma reserve side that I don't think Mourinho is taking the game too seriously. They get beaten 5-2 off of Legia Warsaw in, I think, Europa League qualifying earlier this season. So they're not the team that people think they are with that 6-1 result. Patrick Berg, that could be the best result we could get in January. Him being sold late in the window for them. I know their stadium's about 5,500, AstroTurf pitch. The weather will be freezing, but we've not won a knockout tie in Europe since 2004. It has to happen eventually. We said it with Copenhagen, but I'll say it again. It's our best chance so far. It might not get easier. Not only that, I think the Europa Conference League, I don't think I'm overstepping the mark here in saying that it's a competition a lot of fans might fancy Celtic to win, or at least get to the latter stages, because you look at the teams, and teams like Roma and Tottenham are the favourites, and they've been beaten by Mura and Bodo Glimt. So I think we stand a decent chance in the tie. I think we stand a decent chance in the competition.
Yeah, and Callum's come in here in the comments to say that they've been selling players to big teams for a couple of years now, so hopefully that should stand us in good stead before we make the trip closer, I think, to the North Pole than it is Scotland. So it'll be a tough tie, Lawrence, but we should have enough, as Patrick's saying there, to hopefully come through it. I think we have a manager that takes every game very, very seriously, and we'll look at this as a really good test for Celtic. And hopefully we do get through that time. As Patrick says, it would be good if we could go into the latter stages of this competition. Due to the fact we're going to be adding players to the squad, we're still players in the squad that are still very early in terms of European football experience. This all stands us in good stead for the following season.
Yeah, I think so. Look, kind of month on month we're improving under Ange. As you said, we're going to be adding some more players to the mix. So I would expect us to be, the rebuild's going to be further on, obviously, in time-wise, but I think on results-wise as well. I think that this team will be in a better place. We've had some decent results in Europe under Ange. I think he's going to build on it, and why shouldn't we have aspirations to win it? It'd be great for Ange to be able to put 4 trophies in the cabinet at the end of his first season.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. But again, luck of the draw and all that stuff. That's if you can do the draw correctly, unlike UEFA yesterday with the Champions League. But yeah, as I touched on earlier, they're not going to play for 3 months. I think they won 18 out of 30 games. In the league Molde were only 3 points off, and Patrick's reminded us there of the record in Europa League in terms of qualification against Legia Warsaw. So, we'll see how it goes. Hope everybody enjoys the game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it, and of course we'll be back on next week after the cup final. Hopefully we're talking about Ange Postecoglou's first bit of silverware. I'm looking forward to the match against St Mirren. But until then, thank you to everybody for watching the Celtic State of Mind. And once again, thank you to everyone that contributed to our charity weekender. Again, to remind everybody, just in case you missed it, £28,000 we raised, a monumental sum, and I figured that we'll go a long, long way for the parishes of St Alphonsus and St Mary. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and hope you have an enjoyable day. Cheers.